So I've been learning Spanish for over 4 years now, and I would consider myself an advanced Spanish learner. But even to this day, there are certain quirks of Spanish pronunciation that I find difficult. Today, I thought it'd be interesting to share with you guys the
most difficult Spanish words to pronounce.
I'm going to go over 5 different groupings of Spanish pronunciation that I find difficult. These are pronunciations that when I have a conversation in Spanish, I either will pause, or I make a mistake, or even I just find myself struggling to express myself because they break the flow of my conversation. So the first in this group is not going to come to a surprise for many of you guys. I know this is a very common search in YouTube and Google where people are asking, how do I pronounce the trilled R? And even to this day, I struggle with the trilled R, but I have problems when it goes from the trilled R to the soft R. And then for some reason, that transition from the trilled R to the soft R requires some different muscle movement that my brain cannot make the right calculations. So you have words like error or horror, or even worse, rareza, raro. These are words that I kind of can pronounce, I can get by, but I find myself pausing when I try to say them. I make the trill really soft, or I don't even pronounce it. And while people can understand me, it is something that I would like to improve on and something that I continuously will work on, but it's hard, it's a struggle. Now this next group of words that I struggle with are Spanish words with the diphthong EU in them. For the most part, I can make the sound correctly, but sometimes it is a little bit weak or not full enough. So words like euro, neutro, reunión, I can pronounce them okay most of the time, but there are days where I catch myself pronouncing them not as full. So maybe I'll say euro instead of euro. Now, the next group of difficult to pronounce Spanish words is going to be a specific pronunciation quirk of Spanish from Spain. The words with S and C together. Making that transition is difficult for me. So words like piscina or ascensor or disciplina, I find myself tripping over myself when I try to say these words or pausing a little bit in conversations. The next group of words is probably a common problem for all Spanish learners, and they are just simply long Spanish words. And why are these words tricky? Because one, there's a lot of syllables to pronounce, but two, I think personally for me, I kind of visualize the word as I say it. And so knowing how the word is spelled helps me pronounce the word. And when words are longer and not as commonly used, I struggle to visualize the word. And so sometimes I will mispronounce them just because I don't know how they're spelled. The first word that I came to in Spanish that I struggled to pronounce was desafortunadamente. And now I'm okay with it because I'm familiar with the words. I've said it many times in my life. I don't know why I would say many times in life, but I've said it many times in my life. And so I have the repetition in my body. I already have built this muscle memory for this word. But when there's newer words that I use less frequently, I'm gonna struggle. So simultaneamente, sometimes I forget where the tilde is, right? So I would pronounce it wrong. Finally, the last group of Spanish words that I find difficult to pronounce as an advanced Spanish learner are acronyms. Because I don't know, I think this is the same problem as the group before where I need to visualize the word before I pronounce it. So if I'm visualizing the acronym, I'm not actually visualizing how to pronounce each letter. I'm visualizing the word as a whole. So for example, I'm thinking about ONG. For in Spanish, that's a nonprofit, an NGO. So ONG in Spanish would be ONG. But in my head, I see the ONG, I'm trying to think, on? No, you gotta pronounce it ONG. And I think that's where the disconnect comes from. And that's where I struggle in conversation. I have to stop and think, oh, you gotta convert the letters to actually how you pronounce the letters. So apart from ONG, you have words like DNI, FEDE, IRPF. And when I have to say those words in conversation, I stop and think, how do I really pronounce these words, So as you can see, even for advanced learners, Spanish pronunciation can be tricky and can be difficult. And from my experience, in the end, it really comes down to repetition, repetition, repetition. Because Practice makes perfect. What I'm going to do with these words is I'm going to keep practicing them. I'm going to keep using them in conversation. And I think over time, I will improve at them. Maybe I won't be perfect, but I'll get better and better every day. And that's all I can really ask for. So if you're just starting off, or you're at an intermediate level, wherever you are, know that people also share your struggle, and that, little by little, we can just focus on improving day by day. I'm curious as well, if there are any other Spanish pronunciations that you find difficult that I didn't catch in this video, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts, and I will see you all next time. Ciao.